Here was Van Jones last night on CNN. This is cut number 14, talking about the unmitigated disaster that Mike Bloomberg had. I mean, despite that clip that sounded pretty lucid, the rest of the night he kind of looked like a deer in the headlights. Here was Van Jones. Remember Mr. White Lash? What we saw, remember when he was shell-shocked election night and he said what we just saw in America was white lash? So this guy it really, really uses inflammatory rhetoric. But here was his depiction of the debate last night in Las Vegas.
Listen, this was a disaster for Bloomberg. Bloomberg went in as the Titanic, billion-dollar machine Titanic. Titanic meet iceberg Elizabeth Warren. She took him to task in a way that I've never seen in a debate. She took it over. She prosecuted him. But the worst part about it is, for me, a lot of African Americans are placing great hope in Bloomberg. Despite the stop and frisk and all that sort of stuff, you're seeing people trying to move over there. And he just wasn't ready. He was tone deaf on issue after issue. And the reason why, he's not been in those living rooms. He hasn't been doing those town halls. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know attacking people for, I have too much money for TurboTax? This is a great answer? A lot of people watching use TurboTax. Mm-hmm. His answer on women was terrible. He got completely destroyed on the NDA question. His answer on stop and frisk was as bad as it could possibly be. And then he basically lied on his answer when it came to redlining. He, on every major thing that people who are looking for a champion just wanted to see some contrition and some professionalism, he let people down tonight. And he's got to go back to the woodshed and get it from his team and come back better next time.
Now, this is fascinating to me because that's an African-American commentator on CNN suggesting that African Americans are looking for a champion. Guess what? They found him. They found a president whose economic policies have led to the lowest historic level of unemployment the African American community has ever seen. Bigger wage growth in the African American community than the African American community has ever seen. I mean, Van Jones's analysis is so bizarre because he suggests that blacks are looking for Bloomberg to be a champion. What is it about Bloomberg, the thing that makes black Americans think he'll be their champion? Throwing kids up against the wall and frisking them? What has he ever done to make blacks want to gravitate to Bloomberg? But I can tell you about one individual whose policies have directly impacted African Americans, and that's President Trump. I haven't even gotten to criminal justice reform. Van Jones, the same guy you just heard, begrudgingly gave Trump a lot of credit for the freeing of Alice Johnson and the criminal justice reform that the Trump administration has put forth and advanced. Releasing people who have had life sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. Looking at the disproportionate percentage of African Americans and people of color in prison. The Trump administration did that, not the Obama administration, not America's first black president, Trump. So there's a whole bunch of Americans who happen to be black, who happen to be a lot smarter than the Democrats give them credit for. And they understand what low unemployment looks like. They understand what wage growth looks like. They understand what paying lower taxes looks like. You want the champion? Guess what? They found their champion. He's in the Oval Office.